Who made those rules? People that you can't question. Okay? So, is it illogical to look at the world from a very simple rubric? And that simple rubric is that there are a small group of people in power who want to rule the world. Now, another way of looking at that is there are a small group of people in power who want to own everything. This small change in semantics tells you the means in which this can be achieved. It actually reveals the means and the how. A small group of individuals in power want to own everything. And so, if you think about it that way, the best way to rule the world is to own everything. Then you make decisions that allow you to buy up, acquire things in the world. And so, wars are great for business. Everything's fractured. You start gobbling up stuff, resources, people. Right? Wars are amazing. Having infighting in countries, red versus blue, right? It's easier to start gobbling up small partitions of the red, small partitions of the blue. And I think many of us can agree, in many cases, it's no longer that they've bought up partitions of these foes, but some, I think we can all agree, some of them are fully compromised. And so this led me to thinking, this very simple rubric, this very simple model, led me to thinking, if a small group of people in power want to rule the world, and the best way to rule the world is own everything, then by fracturing the world, by fracturing things as much as possible, creating chaos, creating division, creating friction, creating tension, creating groups, groupthink, right? Creating, categories of people. Like all of this serves your purpose. And for those in positions, lower levels positions of power, you would only ever allow individuals to be in lower levels of power if they were fully compromised. Is my logic illogical? I don't think so. I think the world is waking up to this fact, to this idea. And frankly, I had a conversation with a gentleman last week, which actually added, maybe even sparked the reason why this weekend I've considered this after a long race weekend. Oh man, what a great weekend. Even though we didn't place, we finished dead last because we got hit. But you guys have seen the video on X, so you already know about this. But I had a conversation with a gentleman last week that he was just so raw. He was so raw, man. He's an eccentric dude, entrepreneur, successful, made money in the AOL days. So that will give you enough context about his technological prowess and his timing in the market and age to wisdom. He said point blank to me as I was talking with him, he said, you have to understand, Peter, there's a small set of people. He said less than 100 people and families that run the world. And I was like, I've seen them. I've rubbed shoulders with them. And that's all he said. But he said it so matter-of-factly and so frankly and so candidly that I was like, well, I've heard this before, and it makes a lot of sense as power congeals and kind of amasses itself in every industry. Like, you should know this, right? You should know this. In every industry, it all amalgamates to basically, 6 to 8 major players, right? You think about our food supply, there's like 4 or 6 major players. You think about technology, 4 or 6 major players. You think about, it's the same in every industry. Entertainment, right? News, the list goes on and on. So everything's controlled by about, let's just say, less than 20 entities. Look at every industry in the world, less than 20. I'm being overly generous. Less than 10, about 10 companies run everything in each market segment, in each industry. And so if you think about that, and an abstraction of that would be, well, then it's people who run these things, and the people who run these things have been in power for a long time. This just makes a lot of sense. And one would think that success is not capped. Meaning, would it be possible, can it be possible for individuals to be so successful that they take over entire industries and massive amounts of wealth? I think the easiest one for us to point out right now, who is a small fry still, is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a small fry. Has he acquired and amassed for himself huge corporations, huge entities, hundreds of thousands of people working for this one guy? Yes, he's amazing. Elon Musk is not like the dynasties that have survived, right? Those dynasties that have gone on for generations and generations and generations, amassing more and more and more. And could these generations over time amass so much that they basically are the overlords of pretty much everything? I think it is more than rational. I think in the entire spectrum of possibilities that this is certainly true. So let's say 150 major families and individuals run the world. Fair, peace. Okay. And so the conversation, the context as to why he would say that in the conversation, this is only the second time I've met him, is because we were talking about finances. We were talking about how to play the game of finances and making money within the constraints of the game, and how to be successful in understanding the entire spectrum and scope of what you're dealing with, and why, in the specific context of our conversation, why you don't want to piss these individuals off. You want to be successful within the rules of the game. Who made those rules? People that you can't question. Okay, so laying that on the table, how can we be extraordinarily successful within the rules of the game set by others? And so I appreciated his candor on that. And so, is it illogical for me to use a very simple rubric, which is there's a small group of people in power who print money, who want to rule the world, control the world, and one of the best ways to control the world? Own everything. What's one of the best ways to start gobbling up and owning everything? Fracturing everything. Some thoughts today on this weekend.